Jai Hind everyone. Today we are going to talk about our own life, how it can be made more beautiful because we see challenges, they are the biggest worrisome part of our life, day to day life. But what are the problems which make our life little difficult? The first and foremost thing is to understand life cannot be bed of roses always. It will have some challenges, obstacles, some difficulties en route. We cannot expect pragmatically to have smooth run always. This is understood. I think a little bit our perception will change. Our focus needs to be on practicality of life. In defense, we were taught when the going gets tough, the tougher gets going. In day-to-day life, probably not everyone need to show that bravado, that heroism, adventurism, or maybe that superhuman capabilities. A normal human being can also tackle adverse situations very systematically. And for that, we will discuss few things today. I think the point number one is your attitude towards life. Life is meant for something. We are here to do something positive. We are not here for just time pass. We have some purpose. We need to identify that. We need to really look inwards and see what is our goal. So purpose will define a lot of things. If our purpose is there, firstly, and secondly, what level of purpose. Some people may have bigger targets, some people may have smaller targets. It will depend upon one's own way of life. No target, no purpose is very super, and no purpose, on the other hand, is very low category wise. Everyone may have beautiful purpose. A poet can have simple purpose of writing creative poems. A sports person can have target of winning medals right up to Olympic levels. A scientist may look forward for inventing something which is never thought of. Everyone can have different purpose. First thing is what is our purpose? If you see, if we are clear on our purpose, we can have small steps to advance towards that purpose. In one go, we may not be able to achieve that. Let's be pragmatic about it that we cannot have our goal sorted out in few days, few months. There may be years together work is required. You see, if you go into the history or contemporary period also, you see there are people who give their whole life for achieving some purpose. For few things, it took few years. So depending upon our own purpose, we need to really be patient about it because we cannot win or achieve something in a hurry. Your patience is a key. So we have to fragment our plan, simple steps towards it, make small targets leading towards that bigger target. Suppose a student is trying to finish a syllabus which is probably a huge syllabus, maybe a competitive exam which requires 1 year study. So suddenly it can be sorted out. It can be in steps. It can be a yearly target broken down to monthly targets or quarterly target or 6 monthly target, further coming down to weekly target, and then coming down to daily target. Even in a day, it can be in two shifts, three shifts, morning, afternoon, evening, depending upon one's own liking and suitability. Now coming to next thing, we have to focus on what we can control rather than wasting our energy which is out of our control. Suppose there is a prevailing situation which you cannot do or which you cannot change, but what you can do is your actions and whatever control you can exercise, that is to be understood well. Most of the time, human beings are actually wasting time to think about controlling something which is beyond control or showing that helplessness. Oh, thing is not in my favor, and this is how things go wrong. And this is to be understood very well. A lot of lives are wasted because of these things or thinking, overthinking about it, and then coming to a stage where we are helpless or we can't do much. On the other hand, if you focus what is in your control, that is better to start with. Suppose during freedom struggle time, if our forefathers thought that British is a huge um, empire, it's a big force, everything is under their control, how we can challenge them, then things would have been very difficult. But some wise people, passionate people, identified something can be done and they started. Starting is very important. Just thinking will not do. Okay. People do say next point we have to be positive. This is least understood thing. What is being positive? Being positive is something to start with, looking optimistically about the positive side of aspect. Sometimes people look at things which are actually challenging, deterring, creates fear in our life, and things go wrong that way. If we are afraid of things, probably our thought process gets disturbed. And when we are free, positive in our mind, optimistic, getting motivated to do something, pleasant in our mind, things become pretty easy. In day to day life, you see, when you are fresh in your mind, very positive, things get easily done. And when you are in negative mood, things get really difficult. We have to be practicing few things. And one of that is showing gratitude. When we get up in the morning, we can show gratitude that another day is there in our life. There is an opportunity of new day. Because see, when you slept, or any of us sleep in the evening, whole night there are 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. After that we get up. But some of us are not lucky enough to get up. Some people on this earth had to leave. They have gone away. They have died. But when we wake up next day, that's a big opportunity again. Another day is then there in our life. When we start helping our mind to look at things this way, a lot of things get changed. Otherwise, another negative person may think, oh, this day is boring, today is work, or today is classes, or today is that person I have to meet, which will be a challenge. This is negative way of looking at things. I generally feel people are handicapped because of thinking and not because of personal physical disabilities. And this negative thinking is one kind of handicap. We need to identify. But the irony is, we generally don't understand where we are going wrong. It requires little introspection, and many people fail to do that. Most of the time, we are not in a good shape to think, but someone is required to advise us, okay, this is how one can think positively. Probably you need good friends, good people around you. Age is not an important thing, even younger ones can guide you. This happens. There are different challenges at different stages of life. Student life has got different challenge. Studies, lack of confidence, bigger exam targets, success or failure, this fear. And thereafter, during job, people have different challenges, promotions, or completing targets. Many a times, people are just passing their days without realizing what is going on in their life. This is the biggest problem actually. It is as good as we are dead. That's why we need to wake up really in a greater sense that we are living a life. It's a great opportunity to lead a life in a systematic way. And right in the early age, if it starts, it is good. One good thing to help to build up life in a healthy way is learning attitude. It is better to understand there is so much to learn that this finite life is not enough. This will give us great feeling that every day there is new learning. Even if you see someone action or someone's speech or on social media and you learn a thing, this becomes a habit that you look at things from the learning point of view. One has to learn actually. Nobody is born with immense talent. Practical experience cannot be replaced. But if we take two people, person A, person B, person A may travel from one place to another place, and person B travels the same path, maybe co passengers. Learning will be different depending upon the approach, observation, perception, imagination power. And the most important thing, the way you think. A person may look at things and doesn't learn anything, but another person may learn a lot by seeing one small action. For example, if you see a person who is begging, which is a very common scenario, a person may learn the problems behind this scenario and may start thinking how to resolve in future whenever possible. Another person looks at it and neglects just a small simple phenomena. This is a very simple example, maybe easy to understand, but this may be happening in our life in many ways. We are ignorant about many things. This learning attitude is very important. I think we need to understand it. There are occasions when we feel depressed, when we feel that this cannot be done, this cannot be achieved. I think there we can change our thinking. There is nothing which cannot be sorted out. There is nothing which really means winning only. If we start understanding this side of life, losing we win. If this philosophy is understood, then probably life is really changing. Trying itself is a big thing, whether it is for exam, whether it is for job, whether it is for any kind of work. So this balanced thinking, because in today's fast moving world, we have less time to think. That is the problem. When we start thinking, giving time to ourselves, which is generally missing, if we give time to ourselves to think, pause, people do call this as meditation. Meditation can be in a simple way during travel. You are sitting at some place and you are just thinking. That is also meditation. Ideally, in the morning you get up, you sit at very quiet and very happy place, a remote place where there is no disturbance. There you put yourself into a deep thinking mode. That is also meditation, but not possible every time. So you can think of developing this habit of simple thinking in day-to-day life, and which is possible, not very difficult. One of the most important aspects about life management is understanding the relationship management. We are humans, we are not machines. Being human, we need to understand that how we are dealing with people, whether it is elders, whether it is life partners, whether it is friends, whether it is younger ones, whether it is living animals. This is small aspect, but it will change our entire thought process and life. When we start dwelling upon it, thinking deliberately how I behave in my routine with people, especially if you are in a senior position, especially with the people who are below you, because there your character is tested. There you really understand how is your character when you deal with people who are below you. If you are in a empowered position, that is very interesting. So relationship management itself is a big subject. Today we are just touching upon smaller aspects, and going into details of each aspect can be further followed up. We'll follow it up depending upon people's response and questions if there are. Because today sometimes a question is being raised whether we are losing the art of living. We are too busy in silly things. Another day I read one title on YouTube, a person claiming that he wasted 75 years of his life running behind the things, thinking about the things, a perception about life which was totally wrong, realizing after 75 years. Hats off to this person who acknowledged at least. Many people on earth go away without acknowledging that life was wasted. Sooner the better we understand that what for we are here, what is the real goal. Not necessary that everyone is going to build empire and build legacy, not necessary, but we can at least put our imprints in our surrounding. We can make smaller impacts, at least for the self satisfaction that yes, we can do something and we are doing something, and that is called sense of satisfaction. If we are in profession, professionally honest people will definitely achieve that sense of satisfaction. If we are in student stage, sincerely putting efforts in our studies will give sense of satisfaction. Results are immaterial. I feel the result announcement of boxing is a big learning. It is announced generally, well fought red, blue is the winner. A very motivating statement. What is to be learned from this? Well fought red means the red has fought well, but unfortunately has lost, and blue is the winner. And what is to be learned from it? We need to fight well. Results are to be assumed that that is not in our hand. What is there in our hand is working hard, sincerely putting our heart. And the people who really feel sincere about their own purpose, goals, their efforts, travel the path of passion in the heart and fire in the belly. This is to be really followed in letter and spirit. And then you see how life changes. It is interesting. Life can be seen from a very fascinating point of view. Life is a trouble if you look at it from that perspective. Life can be rewarding, giving a lot of satisfaction. Of course, there will be some challenges, difficult times there, but one has to really accept it. First is acceptance, the way it is, and then trying to improve things, correct things, surpass few challenges, overcome few challenges, difficult situations, and we can easily do it. And that is what is the purpose of these kind of sessions. Because the biggest chaotic and problematic fields are battlefields where anything and everything can happen, including death. And then in normal life where peace is there, not that enemy is firing on you, life's few challenges can be sorted out. This belief system has to be there. And mark my words, if there is no challenge, life is so smooth, that is not life. You realize it later. Everybody wants trouble free life, but that is not life. In fact, when you look back, the most memorable, satisfying moments are when you sorted out few problems, you handled few tough situations. They are the biggest memories, golden memories. And once you develop this kind of attitude in life, life starts moving in a meaningful direction. Life becomes meaningful. Okay, if there is any message from you, from the audience, if there is any uh, question from the audience, I would like to take on, you can put in the chat, because these are small sessions. We will look forward. Okay, if there are no questions today, we will call it a day. We'll end on a note that life is for some purpose. If we have not identified our purpose, let's identify it. Let's be optimistic. Let's be human in a real sense. Let's develop that attitude where we are of some use to others. The real sense of satisfaction lies there when we are useful to others. In a simple way, we generally feel people should help us, but the real meaning lies when we are helping others. The real happiness, the real satisfaction starts there. You see a mother is happy feeding baby, even at the cost of being hungry. Mother is ready to be hungry for kid. If kid is taking everything from the plate, and mother is ready to be hungry. That's the real sense of life. Let's understand from basics that life is to give rather than taking it. Okay, I think if there is any question, I'll take. Otherwise, we'll wind up here. Have a good time. Have a positive attitude. Let's develop healthy way of thinking and let's make this life more beautiful. Thank you. Bye. Jai Hind.